for you. And in the background, I will be doing some studying and coloring. I just got this book today, and I'm so excited to be learning and coloring at the same time. So if this combination of sounds and visuals help you, do not forget to subscribe, like the video, and leave a little or a long comment for me before you fall asleep. Also, my channel is not monetized, so if you want to support my videos, head on to my Patreon. There I also offer a lot more videos like this one. Alright now, if you want to fall asleep, it is that time that I ask you to lay back, relax, maybe take a deep breath in and out, or 2 or 3, and just listen to the sounds and my voice. Alright, the first one that got my attention is from subreddit Paranormal, and it is titled "Something Calls My Name Every Night at about 3 a.m. I'm not usually interested in supernatural stories. I work as a computer scientist and live in a studio apartment. So I always try to give a logical explanation to things that I don't understand. However, for about 7 days, something has been happening that I just can't get out of my head. It all started last Friday. I woke up with a start, precisely at 3:17 a.m. No sounds, just the unpleasant impression that they had called my name. It wasn't a scream or even a whisper, but it was as if someone had said it inside me. But it wasn't my thought. It's difficult to explain, but it worried me a lot. I turned towards the barred door and thought that maybe it was my imagination playing a trick on me. Or at least that's what I hoped so. The next night, the same thing happened. And it was about the same time. This time, I clearly heard the wood floor groaning. 3 rhythmic steps towards the bed. I immediately turned on the light, but nothing. There was only dead silence. I looked at my phone. It was 3:20. On the third night, I decided to record the audio. I left my phone on with iPhone app that records any sound. The next day, I listened again. I heard a noise, like a bang on the wall. Then a very soft voice. I had to turn the volume up all the several times. I'm not really sure if that's what I heard. I really don't think it's a joke in bad taste. In fact, it's impossible, I can assure you. You might think that I'm slowly being convinced of something non-existent and exaggerated. I quote-unquote interviewed everyone, but obviously nothing, and no one heard anything, and no camera detected any movement. Tell me what you think. P.S. I can't sleep anymore, and if something more concrete happens, I don't know what I'll do. Well, there's nothing you can do. Are you scared of the sounds, or are you scared of believing that there are more things than meet the eye? Because if that's the case, sooner or later, you're going to have to accept that paranormal things are real. There are things that we can't explain. But if you're scared of something that might do something bad to you, I doubt that's possible. So I think you're safe physically. But other than physically, I don't know. What do you think? I think it is time for the next story. Let's read this one from Paranormal. It's titled, Well, That Just Happened. I live in a haunted house that I'm too broke to move out of. I was just sitting at my table, drinking coffee from my French press, when the whole thing flies off the table and hits the hutch across the room. Wife came in asking what the heck happened, so I told her. We both just look at each other and get the broom and mop to clean it up. It doesn't even faze us anymore at this point. Cabinet doors are constantly opening on their own. Furniture moves while we sleep. Glasses flying off the shelves to the point that we had to switch to plastic cups. But that's just crazy. If it's happening that many times, you guys should, videotape it and show us. Once I took my son's phone as punishment, and it flew off the shelf where I had it and hit me in the arm. But hey, it's the 3-bedroom in the country, and rent is very cheap. Oh, it's a 3-bedroom in the country, and rent is very cheap. They also don't care that I have 3 pit bulls and a bulldog. So this ghost... Oh, the lights just went off. That freaked me out. Where was I? Oh, they don't care that they have 3 pit bulls and a bulldog. So the ghost is just gonna have to learn to live with me. Or it's the other way around. Maybe you are hunting them with your scary dogs. The first comment is that I love your attitude. Hopefully the ghostly creatures see your nonchalant attitude and leave you alone. Yeah, hopefully that is the best solution. That was a short one. Let's read another one. This one is titled Takes a While to Open. Last week my husband was at work and my kid was at school, so I was home alone. I went to take a shower and heard that my kid left their white noise machine on in the room. I turned it off, got a shower, and when I came out of the bathroom, it was turned on again. Last night I was the only one awake, and I was doing that stand in front of the fridge, looking for a midnight snack thing. I had all the lights off, and just the fridge light lit the kitchen. I felt something tug on the back bottom of my shirt. Turned around, nothing there. A few nights ago, my husband and I had finally had enough of our kid. Will being awake at midnight on a school night and keeping us awake by getting loud on the phone downstairs in the living room. He went down to tell them to go to bed, but no one was down there. Kid was in their room, asleep. Back in late August, I got a text from my kid while I was at work. They were home with their dad and sent me a text that said, "I know you're not here, 'cause your car isn't, but I swear you just yelled lifelong nickname from the living room. Don't worry, I didn't answer it. Ew. Maybe your child is the one haunted." My husband was sleeping when it happened, so he didn't hear it. This started around mid-August and I'm not sure what to think of it. We are doing our best not to react to any of it and not talk about it in the house. I don't know why things just seemed to start out of nowhere, if these things can be explained by other things. The first comment is, sounds like a mimic situation. I have a question. Have you or your significant other been to any grave sites recently? Has there been anywhere unusual you've been to? That was recent tragedy. Weird writing. Sometimes the spirit can follow you home or tie itself to your space. The OB answered, "We actually were at a cemetery a few months ago. My kid had medical tests scheduled in a big city a few hours away, with a couple of hours between the tests and doctor follow-up, so to kill time we walked around the cemetery by the hospital." That's crazy, the fact that you didn't go because of a funeral or anything. You took a casual walk and that's what the first comment asked. That's creepy as heck. So that commenter again answered, "Something may have followed you home from the cemetery." Cemetery, how do you say that? This is common at times. Sometimes it takes a while after for occurrences to happen. So they're lagging. The spirits, they come with you from a place and they become dormant, according to this commenter. I don't know. guilty pleasure to scroll through them. So let's read this one that was posted 3 days ago and titled, I just had the wildest dream. Serious, in parentheses. It says, I recently woke up from a vivid dream. So I was strolling outside. It was nighttime, and it felt like the streets were an intersection of New York. There was a restaurant with a window where I could see inside, and my family members were there. I was just walking along the street, looking up at the sky, and then I saw a UFO that looked diamond-shaped. Instead of being longer at the top and bottom, it was elongated on the sides, and each side had lights. The first time I saw it, I felt disbelief and doubt. It was like reality and imagination were mixing while you were dreaming, and I couldn't fully accept what I was seeing. But then, it wasn't confirmed yet. And I saw it again. That's when I started to believe it was real, because it appeared a second time just miles away. After that, I went inside to find my cousin and told them about what I saw. Then my cousin saw it too, and we both noticed it was pear-shaped with some spots like gemstones glinting. After that, I felt a strange sensation and started to levitate with a static feeling. Then I saw a sort of user interface like a graph, and it seemed like I was being scanned or downloaded. I wasn't sure if my consciousness was being downloaded or if I was becoming a new being. And then I just woke up. So that is creepy as heck. I don't know what does that even mean, to feel like that you are being downloaded. Why is that so funny? Alright, let's read another one now. This next story is from subreddit Paranormal Encounters, and it is titled, There's Someone in My House. I live in pretty rural Scotland, next to a forest in Edinburgh, so I don't really see many people besides my pets. So when I started to notice objects missing from my kitchen or strange creaks outside my room in the early hours of the morning, I got a little spooked. I may be the biggest night owl I've ever met. I stay up to 3 to 4 in the morning each day. So around 2 weeks ago, when I heard shuffles and creaking of floorboards outside my room, my brain immediately fired up and a million scary thoughts flooded my mind. It didn't help that my dog, who was previously sound asleep next to me, had jolted up and had his ears peaked seemingly listening with me. My entire house is made of wood that creaks fairly often, even when there's nothing on it. So normally when I hear a sound out of the ordinary, I'm able to brush it off. However, something about this was different. The creaks happened on and off for around a week and a bit, and they were always followed by a soft shuffling outside that faded in and out. My breaking point was when, about a week ago, I started to notice that food started to go missing from my pantry. That is scary. I would buy a jar of jam and store it away, but when I would go and grab it, it would be gone. This was also the case for a carton of grapes and a tub of butter, and what really spooked me that went missing last night, my large wooden spoon that I wanted to use for my dinner. I know I probably should have intervened at an earlier point, but I tend to be very superstitious and overreactive, so I put it off and wrote it off as me just making things up. I'm truly spooked and hope that this is all just in my head. Update: I've gotten a camera due to the overwhelming response telling me to do so. I've just finished setting it up in a fairly inconspicuous place. My biggest concern about setting a trap or something to tell me about whereabouts or nature of whatever this is provoking them. But my biggest fear is that it is an actual person. Because if your food is going missing, that definitely sounds like a person. What's the word for it? Just living in the walls or outside your house, but comes around and grabs food. But what would they need a wooden spoon? That's also creepy. Alright. Let's see what they said in the comments. It honestly looks like you've got a fully alive intruder in your house, who is hiding either in or somewhere outside, coming only for shelter and food. That's what I said. Isn't this when you call the police? It may not be safe to stay there alone much longer to see who the camera is going to catch. Yeah, what are you going to do if you see a full-grown human being coming in? Ew, I hate that thought. I'm not sure if this is enough to be a call for help from the authorities, but to me it looks like a pretty solid argument. Alright, another one answered, I would assume they're outside somewhere. But I know I'd lock the doors, and second, yeah, I mean, if this poster is someone, they said that they get spooked easily, they're superstitious. So you'd think that they are checking everything all the time, making sure doors, windows are closed and locked, especially after you start hearing things. So I don't think it's somewhere from outside, which makes it much more horrifying. It depends on the house. Where I live, it's the tiniest place. There is no way that someone's gonna be living in anything here. There's barely enough space for me. I'm literally sitting in the closet, so there's no room for an intruder. But if you're living in a rural place in a big house that has, nooks and crannies that you don't often see or check, maybe check them but not when you're alone. How creepy. Another commenter asked what sort of dog, asking them what sort of dog they have. Is it a large protective one? Because I think you have a living person residing somewhere on your property and they're sneaking in for food and whatnot. I would ring the constable mate. And the original poster answered, I have a Staffy. I don't know what sort of dog that is. He's pretty defensive, so it makes me feel a bit better to have him with me. After reading responses, I'll definitely contact services. Gonna learn to trust my instincts. This was posted 2 days ago. So I don't know, maybe we'll get some updates. And this is a woman. Creepy, living alone. And having to go through this terrifying thing. I hope that it is nothing. I hope that it is a demon and not a human. Because the demon can hurt you. I mean, I don't think directly. Alright, let's get into the last story for tonight. This one is from Glitch in the Matrix and it is titled I experienced a glitch in the Matrix a few years ago. Here's my story. This happened around 2017 or 2018. But I just found this subreddit a few days ago. So here is my glitch in the Matrix story. I was driving down a road in the evening. The sun had mostly set, but it wasn't completely dark. Behind me there was a very distinct Jeep, green, with a unique paint job, with green LED highlights. We were on a rural highway. There were no turn-offs during this stretch of the road, and the car had been behind me for several minutes. On the radio was some Blink-182 song. I was in a cover band at the time, and this was one of the songs that was in our set list. I was driving back from a practice, and I was trying to work through something in that song. I knew it pretty intimately. Here's where I noticed the glitch. I've experienced this sensation twice in my life. This is one of them. The best I can describe it is if someone hypothetically grabbed the bottom of your spine and cracks it like a whip. The sensation travels up your spine and culminates in a pop right behind the base of the skull. After the pop, my ears were ringing. Faintly, I could still hear other noises. It happened for a solid 30 seconds. The pop occurred triggered during an instrumental breakdown in the song. After the pop, I noticed an extra measure in the instrumental breakdown. An extra 4 beats. This was a song we had rehearsed hundreds of times. There's no way I simply was counting the beat wrong or something like that. I know this song very well. I look up in my rear view mirror. The Jeep is no longer behind me. Again, this is a rural highway we don't know where that they could have turned off. Weird, I thought, but maybe they pulled over and I just didn't notice. Well, not 15 seconds later, I notice oncoming highlights coming up around a bend in the road, and wouldn't you know it, green LED highlights. The car passes, and surely enough, green Jeep with a very distinct paint job. There's no way that car could have gone from behind me to oncoming in that span of time. Anyway, I didn't really know what to make of it at all at the time. I've since been able to pinpoint that as a glitch in the Matrix moment. This experience. I haven't been super active on Reddit until relatively recently, and just found this subreddit and figured I would share my story. And that's the end of the story. Have you guys ever experienced what this person described? The feeling that goes up from the bottom of your spine to your skull and makes a pop sound, and then something weird is noticed afterwards. It sure sounds very strange. But that is the end of the stories for tonight, and I hope you're asleep and having dreams full of restfulness and joy and happiness without any of the dark beings that exist all around us. Thank you to all my Patreon, and I will see you guys later.